Good morning everybody. So in previous class we have discussed about requirement elicitation activities and requirement elicitation concepts. So today once again we will revisit the requirement elicitation activities, because we need to understand all different activities, that is identifying actors, use cases, scenarios, non-functional requirements and functional requirements. All these things we have to understand in elaborative manner. Okay, one by one we will see, we will understand what exactly those activities are. So first is identifying actors. Basically actors are the external entities. You may call that them as they are external entities. What they will do, they will interact with the, what exactly they will do, they will interact with the system. So they will interact with the system. Interact with the system. So we have discussed that what are all the different actors can do, right? So an example we will take. Let us say I will take one example of, this is an actor. So actor may be anything. You may take a client server computing or simple. So it's not compulsory that you have to take this only. So one example that has been given quoted in your textbook, right? So he is the watch owner. He is the watch owner. Let us say he is the owner of the watch. So he is an actor, and then he will interact with the satellite watch, right? Satellite watch. This is a system. This is the sat watch. This is the system, and this sat watch is associated with two different entities, two different actors. One is GPS. And second one is Webify watch. One more actor. So he is Webify watch. Webify watch. Okay. So now here we will understand. Now he is the watch owner. He is associated with sat watch, right? And then GPS. Sat watch is nothing but what? It's a system. Basically it holds different it is responsible for doing one kind of the interactions with GPS, with Webify watch, and with the watch owner, right? And then if any particular activity, GPS we know that it is especially for determining the locations, and Webify is especially for upgradation. That means any changes that are being done with respect to the web, right, that need to be incorporated. So that is why we need to make use of actor. And watch owner, one who owns that watch. So this is the thing, but what the activities are, the actors need to be identified in a system, who are all what responsible positions or responsible persons who are working for that system. So here we have given GPS as an actor, Webify watch as an actor, and watch owner as an actor. Why exactly means three different actors responsible for doing three different kinds of activities. That is why we need to, first particular activity in requirement elicitation will be identifying one kind of the requirements, in identifying one kind of the actors, that is with respect to requirement elicitation, right? So I will not drag this kind of the things too much. Why? Because we have already discussed this, that is in the previous class. Okay, this is one example that I have given. You may take it as a client server computing also. So that is that is user's choice, right? It's not compulsory such that you have to take this only, right? So this is identifying actors. If we move on, right, so we have one kind of identifying scenarios. Scenarios means usually that it is test cases. Second one will be identifying test cases. Identifying test cases or else scenarios, right? So both are absolutely correct only. So identifying scenarios, right? So in that one, right, many different kinds of test cases usually we are able to go with the given particular context. So identifying scenarios means we are able to go with the test case, right? Test case name, and then test case input, what is the output that we are able to expect, all these kinds of things that we are able to write. So here also we may write here scenario name. You may give the scenario name. Second one, you may go on giving here participating actors, participating actor instances, actor instances, and third is flow of events, flow of events, flow of events. Okay, so these are the three different things that we are able to find. So one is the scenario name. Let us say in general scenario name, the test case name will be, we are able to perform, we are able to verify, let us say we are able to verify such that a particular a variable is integer or not. So at that point of time here we are able to give the scenario name. It must be, it may be anything, but it should be it should be related to the system which you are using. Let us say if you are using any such kind of an activity with the watch owner, right? So at that point of time you may give here kind of any kind of scenario name you may give, right? So scenario name will be one kind of updation of time. Okay, scenario name, right? You may give at, so it is related to what? Watch. So it is the scenario name that you may give. And then participating actor will be who are, so the actors will be watch owner, second one GPS, and third one is Webify watch. Okay, these are Webify watch. So these are the participating actors, actor instances. Now here we are going with the three different things, right? So at that point of time here you may go on what exactly they will do. So watch owner, he is the one who owns the watch. Okay, you need to say one owns the watch. So that is why the flow of event, one who owns the watch. Fine. And second one you may take GPS, that is to determine the locations. Fine, that is also correct. Third one Webify watch, that is especially used for, Webify watch is for upgradation. Okay, these are the flow of events. So this is how you may go on writing the scenario cases. You may call it as test cases. Maybe in other words you may call it as scenarios. So you have to give the scenario name. Second one, you have to give the number of instances that are being participating actors, actor instances you have to give, and then what flow of events. So once the watch, determine the lake locations for upgradation of one kind of the things, right? So these are the template with respect to what scenarios, right? And if we move on, so here we have different types of scenarios. We have different types of scenarios. Okay, so the first one, types of scenarios. So in the different types of scenarios, right? First one we have as is scenario, as is scenario. Second one visionary scenario, visionary scenario. Third one we have evaluation scenario, evaluation scenario. And fourth one will be training scenarios, training scenarios, right? So here four different the scenarios that we may list out here. One is as is scenarios. As is scenarios means it actually describes the current situation, to describe the current situation, right? You may make use of a scenario which is called as is scenario, as is scenario. So at that point of time here we are able to go on what understanding in re-engineering. Re-engineering, if you take an example, you are understanding the current present situation, what actually which is going on. So for that reason you can make use of as is scenario, right? Second one we have visionary. What exactly the vision? Vision means future. So it actually represents the future system. So it describes what exactly the future system. Future means what exactly the qualities that are being exhibited. So you should have a vision towards that particular system. What are all the upgradation activities that they are able to do, and what exactly means usually they are being viewed. So how exactly these visionary scenarios that are being viewed as an inexpensive prototype. So here we are able to go on what having a vision towards the system. So that is the second one. Third one we are able to find is evaluation scenario. Evaluation means describes the user tasks, against which the system to be evaluated, So here we are going for taking, see, as and when, if we are able to consider, a developer will be there, and a customer will be there. Customer is for giving his requirements, and developer is by listening such kind of the requirements of the customer, then he develop one kind of the system. So now we will take one small example here. So user tasks against which system to be evaluated. So here, so customer will give the requirements, right? His own requirements. Developer will incorporate all the requirements, right? Whatever that has been designed by the customer or the customer, right? So at that point of time, what exactly the meaning here is, did every possible requirement of a customer are incorporated in the system? So that need to be evaluated. That is why we are able to find one particular the scenario that is called evaluation scenario. It actually determines how much the user tasks that are being incorporated in the system. So for that we are able to find the evaluation scenario. Next is the fourth one, that is called training scenarios. Training scenarios means usually they are being the tutorials. They are being one kind of they are the tutorials that are being especially used for new users. If any new users are to be joined to a particular any kind of a system, right? So at that point of time here we may go on using here any such kind of training scenarios. Training will gives you step-by-step representation. Flow. That particular thing will describe training scenarios. This is how we are able to go on understanding the things, understanding one kind of the things, right? So this is about one particular types of scenarios. As is, it is a current situation. Visionary means future system. Evaluation means user tasks against which the system to be evaluated, we will say. And training means the tutorials that are being used for new users of the system. So this is how we are able to categorize the given particular scenarios into 4 different types. So this is identifying scenarios. Fine. Next, if we move on, the third possible activity will be identifying use cases. So ultimately we know that what exactly a scenario is, right? So a scenario is an instance. A scenario will be what exactly a scenario is. A scenario is an instance of a use case, of a use case. So usually here it's an instance of a use case that itself is we are able to say is a scenario. Okay. So here at this point of time here we need to understand how exactly we can identify the test cases. So ultimately it may be represented by making use of the use cases. Which are all the use cases that you may find? So based on that given the use cases, right, we are able to identify. For example, if we are going for identification of one kind of the the use cases, we are able to follow a template. Let us take here, we will take a use case name, we will take a use case name. Okay, use case name as, if we take one particular use case name as report emergency. Report emergency. So this is one kind of an use case name. So in that one, we have to go for finding the participating actors. Who are all the participating actors in that we need to list out. Okay, so we have seen the template, participating actors. Then we have to go on what, determining here flow of events. Flow of events. So here participating actor will be, let us say we are able to get one kind of, we will take one kind of an example of a dispatcher and a field officer. So there we are able to find two different kinds of the actors. One is the field officers and the second one is the dispatcher. Second one is the dispatcher. Okay, so these two are the participating actors in that use case. Then flow of events. Flow of events will be first one. So activates, first is you have to go on what, activating the report emergency. Report emergency. Steps, how you are able to find report emergency, you need to activate. Second one, right? So a friend, you may take one kind of a friend need to respond. A friend need to respond by presenting presenting a form to the field officer. For that, a friend has to need to submit a form, that is to the field officer. That is the second case. Third one will be, so we are going for field officer completes. It is the concept, or it is the case of field officer completes the task. Okay, completes the form. Okay, and fourth one, friend will receive the the parcel or anything you may call it as, and followed by the dispatcher, fifth one. So the dispatcher, what he will do, he will review the submitted one. He will review the submitted form. Next, sixth one, the sixth one will be displays. Friend displays the acknowledgement. Friend displays ACK. So these are the flow of events. First the report emergency, then the field officer. He has to report emergency. Then friend, he must go on what, field response by presenting a form. Field officer, what he will do in third step, field officer completes the form by selecting the emergency level. Fourth, friend receives the form and notifies the dispatcher. Fifth one, the dispatcher reviews the submitted information and creates the incident in the database by invoking any particular methods. Sixth one, friend displays the acknowledgement and selected response to the field officer. So these are some of the what exactly you may call some of the use cases, right, that you are able to write. So that is why in the URL writing the use case, we will first go on mentioning here the use case name, participating actor and flow of events. And here we have to give the entry conditions and exit conditions, right? So here we have to give entry and exit condition. That is especially as and when you are logging, right? You are an authenticated user or unauthenticated user. At that point of time, entry condition means you should be an authenticated user. You should have the username and password. That is the entry condition. And exit condition will be after successful completion of your transaction, you must sign out. So that is the exit condition. And then here you may have one kind of a thing, that is with respect to the quality improvements. Quality improvements. Okay, so apart from this, you may have what? Entry condition. You may find here entry condition. Okay, first one. And second one, it will be exit condition. And at last it will be the quality requirements. Quality requirements. So all these things that we should have as and when we are making use of use cases. So one is entry condition, exit condition, and third one is exit quality requirements, right? So one who will enter into it's only for the purpose of authentication. He is a valid user. So that is called authentication. And then exit will be, that is only with respect to what? As and when he will receive the acknowledgement. He will receive with respect to acknowledgement as and when the transaction has been completed. And the quality improvement will be, so here quality requirements will be, so as and when a particular a person entry into a particular system, right, so he should get the response, or he should get one kind of the report acknowledgement within 30 seconds, right. So at that point of time here, the 30 seconds, after 30 seconds you should not have any such kind of the report. So why? Because we are able to go on what seeking say or mentioning it as the timeout activity, because some unauthenticated person has been entered. So and there may be some amount of a problem that you are able to find, because the acknowledgement should receive within the 30 possible things. That is the quality requirement. 30 seconds you should receive the acknowledgement. If in 30 seconds if you are not able to receive the acknowledgement, means then it is not up to that particular quality. So these are the three possible conditions. One is use case name, second is participating actor, third is the flow of event, and fourth one will be entry condition, exit condition, at last we have quality requirement. So these are the things that we need to understand with respect to one kind of the use cases. Okay. So here next one will be fourth one, that is refining use cases. Refining use cases means here we are going for refining. If there is any refinement that is there with respect to what any kind of changes, or any particular point of time, if there is any changes, you can go on refining the use cases. Let us say here in the entry condition, it may be in the exit condition, it may be in the quality requirements, it may be in the use case participating actors. Some actors need to be added here, or some flow of events that are being improperly arranged, right. So at that point of time here, you may go on doing or making any refinement to the use case. So that will be the fourth possible activity that we have to understand here, refining use cases. This is identifying use cases, and the fourth one will be refining use cases. So refinement is any kind of changes that you are able to do, right. It may be in the the refinement that may be done with respect to what the elements that are being there with respect to this thing, and then it may be access rights, it may be missing exceptions, it may be common functionality, and it may be any kind of sequence of interactions, right. So in the fourth one, right, we have refining use cases. Refining use cases, in the refining use cases we have certain points in the refining fourth one. So refining use cases. So in that refining use cases, right, first one, it may be the elements of the system. It may be the elements which are being included in the transaction, you may call it as, or any kind of any activity or any particular thing, right, the elements. Second one, we have interactions. We have the interactions between the different the elements of the system. Third, it will be access rights, right. So read and write. Okay, so read, he is only possible to read, may not write, and then read and write both, so that is called access rights. Okay, and the fourth one will be missing exceptions, any kind of thing that is missing exceptions. So you may find any exceptions that you may find missing, right. And the fifth one will be common functionality. We are able to find the list out the common functionalities. So these are the things that we need to observe, right, if there is any refinement that is to be done with the use cases. So this is one kind of the things that we are able to go on, right. And if we move on, right, so because these are all simple explanations, right. So access rights, read and write, missing exceptions, if you give, right, let us say one example I will give, right. So while writing the use case, I will write here A greater than B. Okay, I will give you simple example, A greater than B, I'll give A is equal to 3 and then B is equal to 3. Okay. So at that point of time 3 is not greater than 3. So it is not less than, it is not greater than. So that is the dilemma. So that is you are able to say missing exception. Such need to be addressed. Such need to be addressed. Okay. So next one will be, we are able to go on what understanding here, identifying the use cases, identifying relationships among actors and use cases. Identifying here the relationships. The fifth one will be identifying relationships. Identifying relationships. Identifying the relationships among use cases.